Good morning. The forecast today is to improve as the day goes on, so I haven't rushed out of bed, just got up at 5, had my breakfast and packed my bag and stuff, just pulled up on a little road called Arenig Fawr, and today we are going to go up to some of the very far western Arenigs that I've not done before. A little bit worried because the last time I did a remote Arenig, which is Arenig Fawr, which is over there, it was a nightmare, very heathery and hard work. So I'm hoping today is not going to be the same, but we'll soon find out. So I'll get myself sorted and start heading out onto the hill, and I'll see you a bit later. So then we start this walk heading up an old disused railway line, and what we're supposed to do is go up Arenig Fawr first and then work your way around to the more distant remote ones later. But I've done Arenig Fawr before on a few occasions, so I'm going to do the walk backwards. I'm going to head to the most remote ones first, and then there's 3 in total, bag them, and then on the way back, if I feel like going up the Arenig Fawr and doing another 3 peaks, taking a total to 6, I can do. Hello. Well, things have just opened up a bit now, and we can start to see where we're heading today. If we look over that way, that's Arenig Fawr and friends, which we may pick up on the way back, but maybe not. If I turn you around, over there is the hills we're going up today. There's 3 of them, and they're linked together a bit. 2 are quite close together, one's a bit separate, but that's where we're heading. Wow, looks a very long way away, but generally speaking, things tend to look further away than they actually are. I keep telling myself that, because if I didn't, I'd probably go nuts. Hello. Oh my goodness, right, it's been pretty easy so far, nice and flat and straight, nice on the ground, underfoot, but that's all about to change, because this is the point where I turn off the railway line and go up, and there's very few, if any, paths. I've spent a lot of time on the satellite view and the OS maps trying to plot animal tracks and stuff that'll get me to the summit, but it's about to get hard. Hello. Well, that's the first leg done, which gets us from the railway line to the corner of the forest. Our next step is to the forest cuts away in a V shape now. We're going to cut across the corner, and then that'll take us to the bottom of our first little top, which is Moel Llyfnant. That's not a Nuttall, it's just a smaller one we do on the route. But there's an interesting story about Bonzo the dog there, so we'll be able to see if we can find that as we go along. So doing okay, been hard work getting through this ground, very boggy, lots of heather. Managed to lose the path that I planned pretty much straight away, and I've just made my way across. When I started Derb Mountains, I think like most people, I assumed that the bigger they were, the harder they were. So like many of us, I started on Snowdon thinking I've done Snowdon, that must be the hardest of them all. My goodness, that's not been my experience. I found the smaller hills, the 2000s I've done, trying to do the Nuttalls, have been so much more challenging. In many ways, navigation's really hard. Sometimes there's much bigger walk-ins. There's no real marked paths on a lot of them. And the ground, most of the walk today has been like walking on a big soggy mattress. So it's really physically demanding. Oh my goodness, right. Deep breath. I have just seen where I'm going today. So obviously started way down in the valley by those trees. Our number 3 objective is that one, which looks a long way away, but it doesn't look quite as far away again as objectives number 1 and 2, which are, we go over this first top, that's not a Nuttall, and then over to the next 2, which are Nuttalls. And then we follow that ridge line all the way around and drop all the way down there before going all the way back up that next one. So, wowzers, okay. Barbed wire fence with no stile to get over there, that'd be fun. Hello. Well, this is a Wilkie B. It's not a Nuttall, it's about 30 or 40 metres shy of 2,000 feet, or 610 metres. It needs to be a Nuttall. But yeah, definitely time for a rest. 2.5 hours in, I haven't stopped for a drink or anything yet, so time for a little break, and then we head up our first actual top of the day, which is just behind us. So I mentioned earlier Bonzo the frog, or was it Gonzo the dog? I think it was Gonzo the dog. There's a legend has it, this little cave down here. Bonzo disappeared down there back in the 1960s, 70s, and they tried to get him out for about 8 days, but unfortunately couldn't rescue him. So there was supposed to be a memorial of some sort, but I must have long since disappeared. But it's appropriate to pay our respects to Bonzo and hope he's in heaven. Bonzo the dog with Gonzo the frog forever. Anyway, we've now got to go all the way over there. Hello, welcome to the top of Gallt Y Darren, our first Nuttalls of the day, and it's taken just over 3 hours to get here. Been fabulous, hard work getting up, but it's been lovely, really nice day. Now the good thing is our next stop, Foel Boeth, is only just over there, so that will be a matter of 10 minutes to Foel Boeth, and then our final top is all the way over there, which is a bit more of a challenge, a lot of down, a lot of up. Right then, that's Gallt Y Darren done. Next stop is Foel Boeth, which is just over there, so only a few minutes away. And then we've got a big descent and a big climb before what is likely going to be our final top for today. Hello. So this is the top of Foel Boeth, our second summit, and our last one, Moel Llyfnant, is miles away. So I'm going to go and sit over there, have another drink, plot my route, and then we'll head over to Moel Llyfnant, which will probably be our last top of the day. What a gorgeous day, isn't it? Superb. Right then, Moel Llyfnant. How are we going to get there? So, we start down and head towards the corner of the forest, and then we follow the edge of the forest up until we pick up the ridge line, and then we follow the ridge line across to the top. Looks easy, doesn't it? Also looks a long, long way away. Hello. So I've arrived at the forest. Wasn't too bad a journey over. Boggy, lots of stream crossings, but nothing too bad. So now we follow the forest up to the end, turn left and follow the forest steeply up until we reach the ridge. But it's really hot now, so I'm going to find my hat because my head's starting to burn in the sun, and I'm going to need to have a drink and just take a layer off. So shall see you in a tick. Right, I'm leaving the forest now and heading up towards the ridgeline. The original route I planned was going to follow that little stream up, but now here on the ground can't actually see a path, so I think I'm going to pick up the ridge a little bit earlier. Well, here we are. Made it to the ridge line. Now, just got to follow the fence up to the top of Moel Llyfnant. I suspect that we'll have some company up there because it's a more popular peak. A lot of people tag it onto the end of the Arenigs. Still haven't met anybody today, which is marvellous. So a quick drink, and then let's push on to the top. There we go, this is the top of Moel Llyfnant. Oh, and it's gorgeous up here, absolutely lovely, quite breezy, so I'm going to go and try and find a spot out the wind to recover now and have something to eat and drink because I'm tired. But this is the summit. Wow, what a beautiful place. So we're on our way down off Moel Llyfnant. You can't just go the way you'd like to go, just direct down, because it's steep. I've plotted a bit of a zigzaggy route, which hopefully will get us down in one piece, just following animal tracks and rubber paths I can see on the satellite view. So I'll work my way down and I'll update you at the bottom. Wow, well that descent was absolutely fine, no problems at all. Helps that it's been quite dry. I think if it had been raining or raining this morning or whatever, the grass could have been a bit slippery, but other than that it was all good. Right then, it was inevitable that at some point in the bottom of this valley I was going to come into a bog. That sounds bad, doesn't it? Didn't mean that. I was going to encounter a bog. Maybe that's a better way to phrase it. Hello. Right, back at the track now. It takes us all the way back to the railway and then to the van. But you feel like you're nearly done, but in actual fact you've got miles to go. Got the full length of a mountain. So let us crack on down this path. I've just encountered this this old ruin. Fantastic place. Imagine living here with that view out your window. My goodness. I need to do a bit with the decoration in there. Holy cheese. Hopefully the cows will keep themselves to themselves and not feel attracted to me in any way. I'm definitely being watched. Railway line we've been down before on the way. We're going to join up with that in about 5 to 10 minutes, I guess, and then it's only a short hop from there to the van. There's a little shortcut which made me laugh on the way, because I looked at it and thought, why on earth would you bother going down there when you just go up the road for another 2 minutes and you can turn onto the railway, disused railway line from there. It turned out it's a massive shortcut. It's obviously cuts a half a mile or something out. So this time I will probably take the shortcut rather than ignore it. I shall show you that in a moment.